Welcome to Dice Control Dojo. I'm Phil and I'm practicing daily, sharing my tips so we can all get better at the casino. Today we're talking about the tape measure. We're going to get into detail about how this helps you in the casino, how it helps you in the casino room, hotel room, and how it helps you when you're on vacation or traveling to make your day easier. I talked about the tape measure quite a bit. And as you can see, I'm trying to show you that you can practice anywhere, at any time. All you need is a tape measure, a few pairs of dice, and you're good to go. All right. So today, I'm showing you a different area where I practiced from yesterday and how I got to this. And it took me seriously 5 minutes to set this up. So I'll show you how to do it in the bedroom when you're in a casino. But I thought this was a little more fancy today. And while I have the sun down a little bit, I want to be able to get through this video talking about the tape measure. So this is a little 10-foot tape measure. And I bring this everywhere I go. And when I go play, as you know, most casinos are 26 to 28 inches tall from your feet all the way up to where you're throwing the dice. So I measured this table out, so it's 26 inches. So it's right where I need there to be. So for practice, this is 26 inches tall. You can do 28. It's in the variation. Remember, when you're setting your dice and you're doing the pick up and throw, right? A lot of times your fingers aren't down on the table, they're up anyway. So that's a good practice for you to be up off of the table when you throw so that your dice aren't touching all the time. I do that when I'm nervous, I want to touch down. But it's also a good practice to make sure when you're setting the dice up and you do the turn, it's a good way for you to make sure your muscle memory is going well when it comes to the upper body strength. So when you're at a casino, the first thing I would always do is know how long your tables are. And a lot of times you're not going to see anybody to tell you that. And I talked about this in previous videos. You can get a good estimate of where your SR1 or SR2 is by being behind the video a little bit. And then I just walk it off. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm about 8.5 feet away. And that's about where you want to be, about 8.5 feet. If you're at home and you're measuring, you can decide what you're going to do. So it's about 8.5 feet. So when you get back to your hotel room, you're going to bring your tape measure and you're going to measure off 8.5 feet. So as you can see what I did here, I just took a beach chair and I measured this out to 8.5 feet right here. I put the cushion up. I made sure I set this up so it's all 26, 28 inches off. If it's a few feet, it's fine. But when you're in the casino, don't measure out your table there. Use your feet, obviously, and just get a good estimate of where you're going to be. And then make sure when you get back to the hotel room, you measure that off either in feet and then measure it off so you know exactly where you are. What are the odds that I'm here at 6:30 in the morning throwing and that somebody's going to pick the exact same place where I'm videotaping? All right. Anyway, so when you're videotaping, when you're shooting the dice and you're setting it up, I usually have a towel and I bring a chip so that I can see where I'm throwing, and then I can throw it right on the chip. So there's literally not one person on this entire beach, but they're going to have to be there. Okay. Anyway, sorry about that. I'm not doing the video again. So when you're measuring out and you are at the casino floor, make sure you're measuring out the dice so you can see where your SR1, SR2. And remember, you're going to have to vary from that, right? It's going to be a close proximity. But when I get back to the hotel room, that's when I'm setting up my dice on a ironing board or a table and chairs, and then I'm making sure that I'm constantly working on everything that I do that we talk about in the video, right? I'm working on the pickup, right? I'm working on the turn, as I did this morning, making sure my swing is right. There's a lot of things that you can do with the tape measure to ensure you're throwing correctly before you get down to the casino. I like to have a chair here too so I can grip. I don't have that today, so I'm firmly making sure my shoulders are square, and I'm still making sure everything is square before I throw the dice. So you have to make sure that your situation is as good as you can get. And I like you practicing in different areas, right? Because if you're constantly doing it at home in a box or in a suitcase or on your own casino, and you don't have variations, then you're not going to be able to do that when you get into the casino, right? Your casino is going to have a whole different vibe and a whole different environment. So you should be able to still be practicing and throwing in a consistent way on a day-to-day basis so that you're making sure that you're throwing and you don't lose that muscle memory. So the tape measure, making sure I'm always going to be 8.5 feet out. So I'm going to measure that each and every day. I'm always going to make sure that we're 26 to 28 inches off of the floor, right? We're going to make sure that we have a landing zone there, and we're going to bring some practice dice so that we can do that. But if at anything, you don't have a tape measure, you only have a pair of dice, what can you do? You can walk the floor, make sure how far away it is. You can walk that off in your hotel room, put a table down, and you know by practicing 1,000 times where your body position is and where you can go. So what are the muscle memory things that you can remember? You can remember the grip. We can always practice that. We can always practice the turn. We can always practice our throwing. And even if we're not hitting our spots or making our 9 spots or hitting the back wall, we can still just get our momentum going so that every day when we're throwing, we can make sure we're ensuring that we're having our muscle memory set. So today, let's review. We want to make sure we're bringing a tape measure with us, we're bringing some dice, and we're measuring out 26 to 28 inches from the floor. We're about 8 feet 6 inches off from the back wall here, and then I brought a spot so that I can practice it every day. So I hope this was a helpful video. Tomorrow we'll discuss more about visualization. What does that look like? Because that's something I don't need to have a casino thing to talk about, but it's very important on visualizing how you're throwing each and every time and working on that as we move forward. Something I haven't talked about, but it's a good little 10-minute video to get you to think about your mental game of muscle memory, your mental memory versus your muscle memory. So join me tomorrow where we talk about visualization. And as always, whether we're on vacation or in the casino, the best strategy is to throw for a long, long time.